Hello guys, this is Model R3102 here, back in the layout. Just got back from Train Fest 2017 here, and I'm already kicking things off with a review of an all-new locomotive from Atlas. Well, I really shouldn't say all-new locomotive, but an all-new release from Atlas, which is the GP38 and GP40s. I got a Wisconsin Central GP40 coming. I'm going to be picking up next week, but I picked this up today at Train Fest. It is the GP38 in the Norfolk Southern, honoring first responders, number 5642. That's what the box looks like. Has the ESU logo on the box, or the sleeve of the box, along with factory equipped with Loksound. This is the second Atlas locomotive I now own that is equipped with ESU Loksound, and this is the second run of Atlas GP38s and 40s with now the new factory equipped Loksound decoders from ESU. So let's get started with a unboxing of this locomotive right now. Alright, so here is the locomotive without the sleeve on. So I wanted to unbox it, and as you can tell, that is the locomotive right there. And like I said, this is the honoring first responders unit, or training first responders unit. The 911 is the honoring first responders unit. So I want to take it out of the bottom portion of this box. So what you get here, and in the bottom, so that is the bottom of the box. Here is a DC and DCC operation of Atlas Gold Series diesel locomotives equipped with ESU Loksound select sound decoders. This is updated as of November 20th, 2013, so it's a little out of date. It's a quick start guide, and it just goes over, whenever I can get to it, the first couple pages, basic level information, intermediate, and advanced. And then a couple more pages of stuff. Quick start guide for DC operations, but this is a DCC layout, so I'm not all too worried about DC operations. Quick start guide for DCC operations. Now this is something I might look into, but at the same time, I shouldn't really have to. Yep, the prime mover and whatnot, and then controlling sound, lighting, blah blah blah, auxiliary lighting. F1 the bell, F2 the horn, F8 is the muting all sounds on DCC. Like I said, this is a little out of date, so I'm hoping things have changed between 2013 and now, Atlas. Because as you all know, 2013 is actually out of date, especially with ESU's Full Throttle feature. Programming a new DCC address to your locomotive, and then differences in the systems and whatnot, and then changing startup behavior and eliminating startup delay and whatnot. So, and then references. Atlas decided to put those on, and whatnot. And now, what also comes with the Atlas locomotive is this. So this pamphlet. Oh boy, dropped something already. This covers the Atlas Model Railroad Company Limited warranty information. The following limited warranty information effective May 2016. I'm not going to go over all the info. They actually, looks like they gave me 2 of these sheets for some reason. I have no idea why. So you get 2 of them, not just 1. And just kidding. You get a 3rd one. So if you thought you only got 1 or 2, you got 3. Then here's a little diagram of the HO Master GP38 locomotive with sound and what it looks like. And then here is some more parts diagram for the GP38 and whatnot. And then you also get the Atlas one-step product and warranty registration card, also 2016. Alright, so now here's the locomotive itself. They do give you a little parts bag with sunshades and then whatever this black piece is. I'm not so sure what this is for, but these are the sunshades that you get to put on your model. So that is that. So let's take the locomotive out of the packaging. You gotta slide this protective gear off, and then take this lid off. This can come off as well, and now all you have to do, and I'm gonna take a seat for this, and then I'm gonna lower the tripod. Sorry for that. And then there's 2 screws, one right here and one right here. This is like the typical packaging now that you will find in a typical Atlas and Intermountain locomotive. I know Atlas, I think, has been doing this type of packaging on the locomotives for the last couple of years. And I know Intermountain just went to this packaging, I think within the last year or so. I think it started off with the GP10s, and I know this is the same type of packaging that is on the Tier 4 Gevos. So I just wanted to just being careful, and voila, there, your 2017 release Atlas GP38 Norfolk Southern training first responders. Some of the details I do like to point out right away is, of course, that the paint scheme, of course. One thing to note, I think this is the first time Atlas is starting to get a little bit better in prototypical railroad specific detailing, such as the Nathan K5 LLA horn, K5 LA horn on the rear, along with the 4 exhaust stacks, which is correct for the NS rebuilt version, since for those of you that did not know, that NS 5642 is a locomotive that was in fact rebuilt by Norfolk Southern themselves. It was never always the 5642, and this locomotive was repainted, I believe, last year into this paint scheme by Norfolk Southern. They also have the air conditioning unit on top of that locomotive, which is a first to my knowledge. And from what I found out, this was rebuilt from an ex-Conrail GP38, and this locomotive was repainted in 2016. For those, no, actually late 2015. I'm sorry. So late 2015 was when this locomotive was first originally repainted. For those of you that want to know history and facts. So I'm going to do a quick overview of the locomotive. So here is the front of the GP38. Notice how Atlas still fails to not have ditch lights on the ends, which is something I'm going to have to get done anyways, is get ditch lights. You have the Accumate knuckle coupler, which I'll replace with KDs. You got the snowplow, along with the MU cables and the air hose, along with the coupler cut lever bar. And now, as you move up, you got the couple Sinclair antennas, one here and one right here. Can't really see from that angle. Maybe not. I don't know. Got the headlight in the number boards, which Atlas got the fonts for them correct, thankfully. Otherwise, they may have to chew them out on that. And then, like I said, the Nathan K5 LA horn is on the rear, and then they even got the paint correct for once on the locomotive. On the side, you got the trucks, which are nicely detailed as usual by an Atlas unit. All the labels on the unit are pretty good. You got the fire department, the police, and the EMT. Pretty good paint job by Atlas. Very nice and very clear. Now, something I'm not so sure if that's accurate or not is the white and the yellow overlapping like this. As you can probably tell right there. That I don't know if that's supposed to be like that on the real unit or not. Because it looks like they almost did like a decal for this right here, and then they just painted that yellow. Not 100% sure. Training first responders, that looks pretty good. Got some warning labels, which is something I have finally noticed a little bit better on the Atlas units. And they look like they're done pretty good. They maybe some of the smallest ones not being able to be read, but they still look pretty good. I also forgot to mention the U.S. flag is on the side right here. It looks like they maybe, I don't know what you guys' opinion on the flag is. It almost looks like, in my personal opinion, it's done okay. Probably doesn't help with that. I think it's a louver, or no, a door hinge. Not really great on my details, so sorry about botching this a little bit. And then go to long hood. Almost the same things as the front, with the coupler cut lever bar, the hoses, some of the ladders, and the red on the rear end of this locomotive is correct for this unit only. And then we're back to this side with more warning labels and whatnot. And then one thing, this is a to standards. This is correct that that this is a GP38-2, but at the same time it was rebuilt from a GP38, which is why you'll never see Athearn Genesis do a model like this unless they go up and do the GP38s and GP38 ACs. Because just because a model is a GP38-2 doesn't necessarily mean it was originally a GP38-2, because as you can tell, this unit was rebuilt from a GP38. So I'm going to now put this on the track and start giving some sounds of this unit. Alright, so I got the locomotive on the track. Track's all powered up. I'm going to give function 8 the startup. Alright, shut the startup. Function 0 is the headlight. Comes number boards are tied into the headlight. FYI. Function 1 is the bell. Function 2 is the horn. And remember, this locomotive does not have ditch lights installed, so you don't have the real feature like the NS units do with the flashing ditch lights. So, function 3 is the coupler. Now I'm about to release it. Function 4 is the dynamic braking. Function 5 is nothing for this unit. Function 6 is nothing for this unit. Function 7, I'm going to be honest, is not the dimmer. I'm going to give function 12. Function 12 is the dimmer. So this unit probably has full throttle. So I do have function 9 engaged right now. So that means that Atlas does have the new ESU Full Throttle features in these newer locomotive releases. Alright, so I'm back to idle now, and function 9 is off. Practically from function 10 on is what you're probably used to on the default ESU Full Throttle on the function-wise and the Full Throttle files. So I'm now going to give the unit a spin. So I'm going to go in reverse. Now, like I said, these are all default out of the factory, so I've not changed any of the CVs or settings or anything like that for my units. And some of you are probably wondering why Atlas had this horn programmed to the Leslie RS3L. Don't ask me that question, because I'm not going to be able to give you a good answer on that. I'm assuming it's because Atlas probably had most of the units with that they did with RS3L horns. That's probably what they went with. And now you'll see my new Atlas GP38-2 rebuilt go by my Intermountain SD40-2W that just came back from Arthur Bradley DCC, and then my Atlas GP40-2W that I acquired early this year. So now we are at the rear of the locomotive, and like I said, just the headlight and number boards lighting up together. So as much as I'd love to see ditch lights on these Atlas units, unfortunately, if you want them, you're going to have to get them installed on your own. They do, however, look better with them on than without them on. And some of you old timers are going to be complaining like, oh, the GP38s never had ditch lights in the first place. Well, NS 5642 never existed without ditch lights, so unfortunately it's a lose-lose situation for the modern modelers, if you ask me. Alright, so now at the front of the locomotive, I'm going to turn off the headlight, and I'm going to show you guys the shutdown sequence for this unit. Alright, so that was the shutdown sequence for the GP38, or rebuilt GP38-2 if you really want to be more correct. So that is it for this review for the most part. I'm going to show you guys a couple more things, and then I'm going to wrap this. So before I wrap up this review, I'm going to show you guys the coupler height on both ends of the unit, and then weigh it just for comparison. So I have the track power off, so it's not going to short. So the coupler height gauge is not going to short out the DCC system. So I'm going to bring this KD height gauge in. And these McHenry couplers are just so amazing, you know. So from what I can tell, that coupler is lined up with the KD height gauge, which is a good thing. Now we're going to the rear, and this is a KD number 5 that's installed on this, and the rear also lines up, from what I can tell, with the KD height gauge. And now I'm going to turn on the scale, the lovely scale, and show you guys how much this locomotive weighs, and then wrap this up whenever I can get things working well with my tripod. Okay. And I'm gonna set it to pounds and ounces. So this locomotive comes in weighing at 13.5 ounces, which is 0.382 kilograms, and that is 382 grams on this Atlas GP38. This locomotive is in fact a little lighter compared to most locomotives that I have on my entire layout. My heaviest is a Scale Trains Tier 4 Jiva weighing at 748 grams, which is almost twice the amount of weight compared to this Atlas GP38, or as I keep saying, GP38-2. And then the lightest locomotive is an Atlas GP40 that was modified and no longer weighs as much as what it should. My Atlas GP40-2W that I showed originally in the Cian, and I'm going to show you guys that unit. This unit was built, was made by Atlas a couple of years ago, and that unit is very comparable with this Atlas GP38, weighing in at 388 grams. Now, don't get me wrong, Atlas units are pretty good pullers and run pretty good. It's just their total weight does not tell us that much about them. And then also I have a Athearn Genesis Illinois Central GP38-2 that weighs around the same as my Atlas GP38 that you guys are seeing right now. And according to my locomotive roster, I do not have many units weighing less than 400 grams. However, these Atlas EMDs are the ones that are struggling to keep up in the weight category compared to the 4-axle GEs. From what I can tell you, the Atlas-8 40Bs weigh in at almost a pound on the dot, and these units are at least a good 2 ounces lighter than the -8 40Bs. So that is it on the review of the Atlas GP38. So let's wrap this. So that is a wrap on this Atlas GP38/GP38-2 rebuilt review on this new release locomotive. It took Atlas, I believe, 20 months to get these locomotives out on the shelves after they were announced, which is okay. I know Atlas has done a lot worse in the past with prior releases, and they still do with certain units. For an example, I think it took over 3 years for the first run of GP40-2Ws to hit the shelves, and I think it took 4 years for another locomotive to hit the shelves. I think one of the electric units is on pace to go 4 years without being released yet. But I think that also has to do with ESU not being able to get recordings right away. since they finally got recordings of that electric unit. Don't remember what it is. I'll look it up later. But I am glad that Atlas is starting to step it up a little bit in some of their detailing since they bought out BLMA. And I know Atlas has been known a little bit to do the same things over and over again year after year since they first started doing more realistic models in the late 90s and early 21st century. But this is probably the best GP38 and GP40 that they've done to this date, and it's getting better now that they have ESU Loksound in them, and now that they have the ESU Full Throttle features in them. I would like to see Atlas update their sound quick start guide, since it is outdated by a good 4 years already. So Matt Herman, if you would be able to get on Atlas's case about that, that would be appreciated, because I don't want to be going off of a guide that's 4 years old and is pre-full throttle era, let's just say, because I know Atlas, I think, was the last company to start having their ESU equipped units to have full throttle. Everybody else jumped on the bandwagon right away. And I know Intermountain's first full throttle equipped unit was early this year, and I think Atlas's was sometime this year as well, because I know the GP40-2Ws were not, and they were released, I think, around the time full throttle came out. And I think then there was another run of GP38s and GP40s that came out prior to this one that had ESU in them, but I don't think they had full throttle in them. So again, these are my suggestions, and I haven't changed anything with the sounds and whatnot yet, and I still need modifications done to these units. So for what I paid for, it's a pretty good locomotive. And like I said, I'm glad Atlas has finally gone to ESU after umpteen years with QSI. They switched to ESU sometime in 2013, sometime after Intermountain changed to ESU as well. So I am very glad that Atlas is starting to move forward in progress in some of these locomotives. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.